Hi and welcome to this video, which is going to explore how to write numbers as a product of their primes. And if you're seeing this for the first time, that might seem quite daunting with all these words. So let's just get to grips with what that actually means. So what we're actually doing is we are looking at a number and we are, let's go back to our description, writing numbers as a product of their primes. Probably what we should do is call it prime factors. So we need to understand all of these words. What does product mean? What does prime mean? What does factors mean? Before we can even get started. So let's do that. A factor is a number that divides into another number exactly and without leaving a remainder. So if you think of a number such as 6, it's got a factor of 3 and a factor of 2. And what that means is we can divide 6 by 3 and it will go in exactly. And we can divide 6 by 2 and it will divide exactly with no remainders. So for both of those, they are factors of 6. If we multiply them together, we get 6. So that's a factor, a number that goes exactly into another number, leaving no remainder. Okay, prime numbers. So a prime number is a number that only can be divisible by 1 in itself. So it doesn't have any other factors. 6, if we go back to our 6 can be divided by 1 and 6 can be divided by 6. Any number can be divided by itself and by 1. If there are no other factors, then that number is prime. But we've already discovered that 6 has actually got 2 and 3. So therefore, it is definitely not a prime number. And finally, a product. Product in mathematical terms just means multiplication. So we're just multiplying. So if we look at 6, we could write it as a product of its primes by writing 3 times 2. They are 2 prime numbers. And when we multiply them together, we get 6. Okay, that's a very brief introduction. You may want to go back and explore that a bit more. But let's have a look at some numbers. So any number can be written as a product of its primes. And I think we ought to write that up again. Product of primes. Any number can be broken up into a product of its primes. You can think of it as the number's DNA. So let's think about 15. Does it have factors? Yes, it's got a factor of 3 and it's got a factor of 5. Here's my list of prime numbers. 3 and 5 are both prime. So therefore, we can write 15 as a product of its primes, and it's 3 times 5. 20. Well, we could split that up into 2 times 10. 2 times 10. So 2 is definitely prime. 10 isn't. So that means we must be able to break 10 up into products of prime. So let's do that. Well, 10 could be 2 times 5. So we could do that. And now we have got all prime numbers. So if I circle that, and that, they are the product of primes for 20. And let's just check. 2 times 2 gives us 4. 4 times 5 gives us 20. So that is 20 to a product of its primes. Okay, let's have a look at 16. 16, well, we could do it in various ways, but let's say we went for 2 times 8. We could do 2 and 8. 2 is prime. 8 is not, so we need to break that up. So we could break that up into 2 times 4. I've circled 2 because I know that's prime, but 4 isn't, so I've got to keep going. And again, 4 is 2 times 2, and now I have broken up 16 into a product of its primes, and it's 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, which I could abbreviate to 2 to the power of 4. If you're not sure about that, that's for another video. So any number can be broken down to a product of its primes. And many people like to do it this way. Let's put circles around those because they were straight away primes. When I'm doing them, rather than do this format, which is known as trees, which can get a bit busy, lots going on, I'm going to change colour now, and I'm going to pick something quite a big number, but you'll see how quickly number gets broken down. Let's start with 46, and this is how I would do it. So, oh, that's not a very straight line, but I'm going to draw that like this, and my factors are going to go here. So I want prime factors. I'm going to write them up again. Knowing your primes is a very useful tool. So 2 is a factor of 46. It's an even number, therefore 2 must be a factor. So if I divide, and we do remember when we're taking it out, we're not deducting it, we are dividing it. A factor is a division. How many 2's in 46? Well, 2 goes into 4, 2 goes into 6, 3, so that's 23. Now, 23, if we carry on this line, oops, missed one out. 23 is actually a prime number. So immediately we are done. We take out a prime factor of 23, and that's 1. So 46 as a product of its prime factors would be written as such, 2 times 23. Okay, let's pick another number. Let's go for 90. See what happens with that. Okay, so I can take out a prime factor of 2, 90 is even, and that's going to leave me with 45. Now, I could see if 3 is a factor of 45, and if the digits add up to a multiple of 3, then it is. Now, that might be difficult to get your head around. 4 and 5, if you add them together, make 9, which is in the 3 times table. Therefore, 45 can be divided by 3. So I'm going to put a 3 there. 3 goes into 4 once with a remainder of 1. 3 goes into 15 5 times. So there you go. We've taken out a prime factor of 3. We can go again. 15 still has a factor of 3. 5 and 1 makes 6, which is 2 times 3. So let's take out another factor of 3. 15 divided by 3 leaves us 5. 5 is a prime number. And there you go, we're down to 1. So 90 as a product of its primes would be 2 times 3 times 3 times 5. And of course you can get your calculator out. Let's get our calculator out to check. 2 times 3 times 3 times 5 is 90. And we could simplify that to 2 times 3 squared times 5. So that is how you write a number as a product of its primes. Now, I said to you about this thing about finding the 3's. Don't worry if that doesn't make sense, but it definitely helps if you know your times tables. Let's do 2 more, and this time pause the video and have a go at doing them yourself. Okay, let's have a go at So when you're ready, pause the video and have a go. Okay, so let's write up our prime factors. The more you write these, the more they'll get embedded. So 104, even number, definitely has a prime factor of 2. And if we take 2 out, we're going to be left with 52. I'm doing this quite quickly, but you can do them at your own speed. That's an even number, so we can take out another factor of 2, and that is going to leave us with 26. 26 still is an even number, so we can take out another factor of 2. 26 divided by 2 leaves us 13. 13 is prime. Take that out, and we've got 1. And I could put F there to show they're my factors. So writing 104 as a product of its primes would be, let's see if I can squeeze it in a different colour. 2 times 2 times 2 times 13, and I could abbreviate that to 2 to the power of 3 times 13. Okay, good stuff. Now I need to make some room. Let's move that down, and then I'm going to move that over. Always good to allow yourself plenty of room. I've lost the tip of that 5, but I'm going to just put that right. So that should be a 5. That can be our factors. Let's go back to red and let's start. So let's have a look. Is 3 a factor of 85? Now, if you're struggling, you can just go for the 5 because the 5 seems more obvious. But it's good to have a sort of standardized way of working. So we do tend to do it in order. That makes it easier for the next step when we want to compare two numbers. But if you struggle to see whether that divides by 3, then you could go straight for 5. Now, what I was saying earlier, if we add these up, 8 and 5 make 13. 13 is not a multiple of 3, so in fact 3 is not a factor. So we head straight for the 5. 5 we should know is going to be a factor because the number ends in 5. Okay, so how many 5s in 8? That's 1. We'd have 3 left over. 5s into 35 goes 17. Now, looking at our numbers, 17 is a prime number, so we can take out 17. We divide 17 by 17, we're left with 1. So let's write that up. So 85 as a product of its primes is 5 times 17. Okay, you can do some practice. Just make up numbers and try and take out the prime factors until you reduce the number on the right to 1. And of course you can always check, because you can just check it on your calculator. Whatever you have taken out as factors, multiply them together, make sure you get back to your original numbers. And that is the end of this video.